Welcome back to the Hockey Pool Guide Aid channel. I am Dimitri, and today we will be kicking off the 2018-19 season Battle of the Hockey Pool Guides. This was the last full season to be completed, meaning every team played the same number of games. Even though it was 2 seasons ago, it should add to our knowledge. We had 34 lists, where 24 were chosen to compete in the battle. The qualifiers were randomly composed into 3 groups of 8. The 2 winners of each qualification group would automatically make the semis, and the 10 next best guides would join them. Much like the 2019-20 battle, the top 2 from each semifinal would automatically make the finals. However, the 3 next best lists would join them as wildcards. The new modification is that we were holding one spot open through a repechage. All the non-qualifying lists would compete for that single and final spot in the finals. Prime Puck's and Dom Luzinski's lists were excluded because they were incomplete. Dauber's monthly 300 was not suited for a single season battle, so it was excluded as well. Last year by points per game, 3-year by points per game, 3 years points, and the consensus were excluded because they were of my own calculation. NHL trade deadline and Eric Duhatschek were excluded because they contained the fewest amount of predictions as compared to the other qualifiers. The repechage itself will contain 2 qualifying groups of 8, and like before, the top 2 would automatically make the final repechage event. The 4 next best guys will qualify as wildcards. From there, the winner of the repechage final will be returned to the main final. The first qualifying group was won by Chuck Lemieux over the Hockey News. The guides that joined them into the semifinals were Fantrax, Scott Cullen, and ESPN. Inside Hockey, NHL's Pete Jensen and Pool Experts were moved into the repechage event. Here's a slide that shows the statistics for that group's battle, and it illustrates how close it really was. The green qualifying group was easily won by Le Droit Le Soleil. Second place went to Datsuk to Zetterberg's Marcel's calculations, and the other guides, Dauber Hockey, McKeen's Hockey, Hockey the Magazine, the Daily Faceoff, and the Sports Forecaster were all qualified as wildcards. The only guide that was relegated to the repechage was Number Fire. Even though Le Droit Le Soleil won the group with a huge number of victories, the median statistics show that it was much closer than it seemed. The remaining qualifying group was won by Pool Pro, and they won with a total number of victories that was even greater than Le Droit Le Soleil's. In second place came Chuck Lemieux's Consensus, and joining them into the semifinals was Datsuk to Zetterberg and Le Pool. The other guides that did not qualify moved on to the repechage. The statistics show that Chuck Lemieux's Consensus really did have an advantage over everybody else. The first semifinal was easily won by the Hockey News. The second place went to Le Pool, who had 100,000 fewer victories. The Pool Pro and Daily Faceoff were the other 2 that qualified into the finals as wildcard positions. The Hockey News may have easily won, but the statistics show that it was much closer. Even more surprising was the results of the second semifinal. Le Droit Le Soleil easily won the grouping with over 187,000 victories. Second place went to Dauber Hockey with just under 19,000, and the last team to qualify as a wild card was Datsuk to Zetterberg. ESPN, Fantrax, Scott Cullen, Datsuk to Zetterberg's Marcel's, and Chuck Lemieux's Consensus rankings were all relegated into the repechage. The statistics do show that Le Droit Le Soleil really were that dominant. But what is surprising is that this is a semi-final, and I would have expected that the margins would be much closer. Here are the 7 guides that made it to the main event finals. You have the total number of wins, how many they won during the qualifying rounds, how many they won during the semifinals. Our last spot will be earned through the repechage. All those other guides that did not make the main event through the semifinals have one more chance. They've got to run the table in order to earn that last spot. Our repechage event will be handled in our next video, but before I leave you, I want to illustrate that where you pick in your draft matters greatly. Through our qualifying and semifinals, if you picked first, second, or third, you had a 61% chance of victory. Please consider liking the videos and subscribing to this channel. You can also look at my blog postings by going to www.hockeypoolguideaid.blogspot.com. Until next time, stay safe.